Is the Texas weather discussion video for Thursday, the 6th of December. I'm Donovan Neal. Obviously, we stay mostly cloudy and a little bit wet today in advance of a cold front, of advance of a potent storm system. We'll see a chance of scattered showers and thunderstorms during the late afternoon hours, but then rain becomes widespread on Friday and Saturday, and especially Saturday afternoon and evening is where we're going to have to watch for the potential wintry mischief. Hopefully, we'll be able to answer some questions here. Let's take a look at our upper air look. This is the upper air look at 500 millibars, around 18 to 20,000 feet off the ground. This is the trough, in just to the west of Southern California. That's the trough that will basically affecting our area, bringing in that potent storm system and bringing in some cooler air as well. Obviously, with the trough off to the northeastern near the New England area, we're obviously in a zonal flow here. Most temperatures are actually not that bad this morning, mostly in the low 50s and upper 40s across the Metroplex, and we'll be in the mid 50s later today with rain at times. Around the nation, much of the coldest air up in the north and even parts of the deep south where they're in the 20s, but a little bit milder down here. Across the watch warning map, winter weather watches are starting to increase in number for much of the Texas Panhandle and even northwest Texas into parts of the central and northern two-thirds of Oklahoma, even parts of northern Arkansas and southern Missouri. But down here close to our area, we have a flash flood watch in effect for parts of our southern counties in North Texas. Does not include DFW yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if it inevitably gets included, if we get included in that watch. On the in terms of convective outlooks, with cold stable air mass in place, only thing we have to worry about, even that, is thunder for parts of the central two-thirds of Texas, even parts of Arizona and parts of Southern California near Los Angeles. Here's the average rainfall for the next 7 days. Yeah, we see that large amount of rain for parts of the deep south over the next few days. Down here in DFW, amounts range from around 3 to 5 inches or greater for much of North Texas. And again, that's obviously anything that we see today, tomorrow, and that's anything that we see Saturday. And I think Saturday and much of next week should stay dry. So let's go on to the model output. This is the O6Z run of the GFS file this afternoon at noon. You can see we have troughing on both sides of the spectrum. Zonal flow here. Down here, like I said before, we could see some very late afternoon showers and thunderstorms develop in advance of a potent storm system off to the west. Again, highs will be in the mid 50s with mostly cloudy skies. Now here's Friday during the day. Here's Friday during the afternoon hours. Friday, it looks like a widespread rain event for much of the state later tomorrow. And of course, we start the day in the low 40s, and with that rain-cooled air, we won't even warm much on Friday. Highs will mostly be in the mid-50s. And here's Saturday as the weekend begins. Now during the day on Saturday, we're expecting mostly a cold rain on Saturday, with highs mostly in the low 40s. And of course, with that, we begin to mention some ice issues and ice and snow issues for areas in the Texas Panhandle and parts of central and northern Oklahoma. But let's go on to the 12-kilometer NAM. Now keep in mind that this particular model has a very good handle on dealing with shallow, cold air masses, and even underdoes precipitation at times. So that's why we're kind of cautious. This is the NAM late in the evening Saturday, late Saturday evening. You can see it does have a little bit of winter mischief for parts of North Texas, and it even includes some parts of the DFW Metroplex as well. It does show a little bit of some flurries, and if this were to verify, that could even be some snow if this were to verify. But again, we're still a little bit early out, and a lot of things can change. But let's take a look at the total snowfall accumulation. Obviously, the NAM may be overdoing this a little bit, especially in central Oklahoma. But the main idea is we do have the threat for a little bit of some accumulation, some winter weather accumulation for parts of the DFW Metroplex, especially for our counties up to the north. Those north and the west is where we could see the most accumulation. So we can see some accumulations here in the DFW Metroplex. So a lot of things still in fruition in here, but the bottom line is the main threat for some heavy snow will most likely remain in the Texas Panhandle and central Oklahoma. Could we see some accumulation? Yes, but it's not. But at the same time, it won't be as big as those up in the north. So we'll release with this new data out. We'll release our first call. I guess our first call forecast by this afternoon and evening. So stay tuned to Apex Storm for that. And let's take a look at the 12 kilometer, the 2-meter air temperatures, surface temperatures, valid at pretty much at the same time where the snow comes in. And you can see here in North Texas, we can see that temperatures are basically below freezing at that point, with some of our northern counties in the upper 20s in some spots. And again, that's more than sufficient for some winter weather for parts of North Texas. And again, if we still see rain by that point, any rain that we see at that point will most likely either be frozen into ice, or we may have some winter weather, or we may have some freezing rain if rain is still falling at that point. But again, the ground is still wet. If temperatures fall down here, anything that falls or is on the ground will most likely freeze at that point. So that could lead into some travel impacts as well. So there's just a lot of things to say here with such a little amount of time. So the bottom line is expect some potential travel impacts overnight on Saturday into Sunday, and expect some travel impacts into Sunday morning, and maybe during the afternoon hours if we don't get warm enough. So the bottom line is stay in touch with the Apex Storm for the latest updates. We'll release our first call forecast by this evening. But you can see, as we transition out of that into Sunday, Sunday looks like a very cold day again, with highs in mid-40s. Again, a mix of sun and clouds, a storm system way off to the east. Here's Monday of next week. Monday, after that, all of that clears through. We remain mostly beautiful for Monday. Again, we could start below freezing on Monday, but then we end up in the low 50s. And here's Tuesday, pretty much the same deal. Here's Wednesday. A cold front starts to come through a little bit on Wednesday. Although a little bit of a front starts to come through on Wednesday, we'll mention a chance of a few showers, but that's really about it. Highs mostly in the low 60s. We stay a little bit mild. Here's a week from today, Thursday, the 13th of December. We have troughing basically in the southern plains. Down here, we remain pretty dry. We may see a few showers on Thursday, but that's really about it. But here's the end of the 10-day forecast period. This is Sunday, the 16th of December. You can see we have a cold trough on both sides of the country, and down here, that looks like a very dry look. But you can see for the numbers for the next 15 days coming off the GFS ensemble, highs mostly stay in the mid 40s to mid 50s as we transition towards next week. Of course, we do have a low of 31 on Monday with that cold shallow air mass, but as we transition into the latter half of next week, we could even touch 60s for a couple of days before going back into the 50s as we transition into late December. That's it for the Texas weather discussion video for today on Mornings in the Blog. Next video here is expected to be posted at around 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. If you can't catch your local TV stations on the air this afternoon at 4, 5, 6, and 10 o'clock. Thanks for watching. Have a great day, and Godspeed.